Hi, welcome back to Robin's blog. In the last vlog, I performed a song which was all about a tragic happening, not tragic, but a traumatic happening back in Moscow in 1966. The story I would like to tell you today is actually much more pleasant and very memorable occurrence which took place in that same hotel, in that same dining room. We were staying in the Hotel Yaroslav, the Gostinitsa Yaroslavskaya, which was quite close, as I mentioned last time, to the Vyriencha, the exhibition of economic achievement. I got a suitcase full of souvenirs still from that visit in 1966, and I just came across this one. I don't know whether it comes out the right way around or not, and a couple of postcards I want to show you because they're relevant to what I want to tell you. This one, which represents a rocket which carried the first Sputnik into space back about 1960-ish, I think it was. Can't remember exactly. And we used to walk past that monument when we got out of the metro at the Vyriencha station to walk to our hotel. And it was an interesting walk because there were, as fairly normal in Russian cities, lots of blocks of flats, apartments. And one of those apartment blocks clearly was home to students from a college or university of music. I'm not sure where they were from or what they were doing, but as you would walk past this particular block of flats, you would hear people practicing all sorts of instruments. I presume that internally the sound proofing was quite good, in the sense that there were French horns and other brass instruments and violins, all sorts of things being played at the same time. So although it was a bit of a cacophony in the sense that they weren't all playing the same thing, it was really a beautiful experience to walk past and hear all these students practicing so hard at their instruments. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk to you about. One evening we were gathered. There were 17 students. I just remember that because I've just found another souvenir, which is 17 trolleybus tickets from Leningrad, St. Petersburg. I must have been the one who had to collect them from the little machine on the trolleybus. Let's put those down again. Anyway, there were 17 of us students, plus our two group leaders, and it happened to be the 21st birthday of one of our students, Elizabeth, and we were in the hotel restaurant having a meal, and we actually couldn't believe what happened, because the dining room doors were closed, and we were on a long table, as you can imagine, being virtually 20 of us, and all the tables in one part of the restaurant were the same size, great long ones, and so the doors suddenly opened wide, and in marched a group of people. I say march because they were in uniform, and we were absolutely amazed to see faces that we recognized amongst this group of people. Faces that had been shown all around the world, and one face that had been particularly shown outside the world, and this was Yuri Gagarin, the first cosmonaut, the first man in space. And this group of people contained all of that current group of cosmonauts Apart from Gagarin himself, there was Valentina Tereshkova, Alexei Leonov, Herman Titov, all people who I'd read about in preparation for my visit. And for example, I think it was Leonov who's did the first kind of walk in space. Well, this group of people there, and in they came and sat on a table which was parallel to ours, but I guess there were two other tables in between. So we were at one side of the dining room and they were at the other. And as the waiters were bringing stuff to our table, we said, look, can we go and say hello to these guys and goddesses? So the waiter disappeared and came back, and he said yes. So we all stood up and approached the cosmonauts table to say hello and whatnot, and it was fantastic. Unbelievable experience. I got Yuri Gagarin's autograph. Bearing in mind I had no front teeth at the time, so I didn't talk too much. But we greeted them. It was fantastic. It didn't last long, but it happened. And then we returned out to our table, and clearly someone had mentioned to the cosmonauts that one of our number was having a birthday. And so imagine our surprise when the waiter arrives with several bottles of champagne. I know, champagne. From the cosmonauts. And so the champagne was duly poured out, distributed amongst us. And so we actually turned and stood and drank a toast to them. And it was stupendous because they all stood and turned and drank a toast back to us. Absolutely fantastic. It's one of these things which sticks in your mind. You know, I can't imagine what it would have been like if we had the same technology that we have these days. Can you imagine the bombardment on social media, on Facebook and such like, of people taking selfies and with these guys? I can't imagine what it would have been like, really, because no one had a camera with them, for example. Not one person had a camera in the room with us, so we have no record of what happened. It's just here. It was phenomenal. When I came home, I treasured that little autograph, and when I started teaching, we were doing a space project, and so this little autograph took pride of place on the display. And I have to say that one of my dear pupils, I'm not sure who it was, I have an idea, actually stole the autograph from my wall. I went to take the display down, there it was, gone. But I still had in my mind the image of actually having Yuri Gagarin write that autograph for me, and of all of those other cosmonauts. And it reminded me, I was reminded of the event again by during the Sochi Olympics, because Valentina Tereshkova was one of the people who took part in the opening ceremony. Sadly, Yuri Gagarin died not long after that in a plane crash. Nothing to do with space. And initially, there were all sorts of theories of what had happened to him. And just recently, within the last couple of years, a report which was actually undertaken, interestingly, by Alexei Leonov, one of the other cosmonauts that was present, seemed to indicate that the aircraft that he was that Gagarin was flying in was, if you like, swamped by a I don't know how you describe it, the kind of turbulence caused by a much larger aircraft passing close by, and his aircraft sadly hit the ground. Sad end for such a brave guy. I remember one of the words that we learned very quickly when we were in Russia was that our group leader Veronika would be encouraging us to come on, let's go. And I just remember that word, "Поехали, поехали," and that's exactly what Yuri Gagarin said as the rocket was taking off. "Поехали." A fantastic memory. This vlog has many t-shirts in it. I just want to show you this one if I can just move this down a little bit. Here he is, good old Yuri, in his space helmet. Oh, I got this one in Domodedovo airport in Moscow as I was coming home. Quite a reasonable price as well. So there he is. Great man, brave man, as were all the cosmonauts and astronauts who took that step into space. And with that, I shall say farewell. Next time I want to stay back in 1966 for a little while, but then transition to 2017. Okay? Thank you. See you soon. Bye.